Hi everyone and welcome to this video. Today I will cover this nice laptop, a Lenovo ThinkPad E15 Gen 2. During the video we will take a look at the specifications, look and feel, and how it is to use this laptop. I will also show you how to upgrade the memory or NVMe SSD and how well this device actually performs by running some benchmarks. The ThinkPad E15 Gen 2 was released back in 2020 and comes with either an 11th generation Intel Core CPU or 3rd generation AMD Ryzen. The first one can optionally also be equipped with the GeForce MX350 or 450 as dedicated GPU. The model which I have here is equipped with an Intel Core i5 1135G7 CPU and, unfortunately, only has 8GB of DDR4 memory. The good news is that I will upgrade that to 16GB a bit further in the video. From the outside, the laptop looks decent and also feels that way. The hinges give a sturdy impression and overall build quality is what you would expect from a ThinkPad laptop. One remark is that the black color is pretty sensitive for fingerprints and you easily get spots that are very difficult to remove. The laptop weighs about 1.7 kilos, which makes it still pretty portable, even though it has a nice 15.6-inch display. That display has a Full HD resolution and does a decent job in terms of brightness, sharpness and viewing angle. It's not top-notch, but decent enough for productivity work. According to the specification sheets, there are also versions available that come with a built-in touchscreen, but I never have seen these in practice. As you can see here, there is also a built-in camera, which is compatible for Windows Hello. It has a tiny latch to block the camera, but it's not very handy to operate. Other than that, it does do a good job. Image quality is good, and even in lower light situations, I found the camera to perform well enough. The keyboard then. This is something that really stands out to my ID. I'm not sure why, but from the first time I used it, I liked the keyboard. It's soft without being too mushy, and the spacing between the keys is somehow just right. As the laptop has a larger screen, it also comes with a numeric keypad on the side, which is always handy. The keyboard is also equipped with backlight, and probably not very useful, but Lenovo also advertises that the keyboard even has dedicated keys for answering and dropping Teams calls. The touchpad is good as well. It's one of the better Windows-based laptop touchpads that I've used in the last months. It's responsive, takes up multi-touch gestures well, and tapping or dragging just works how you would expect it. Being a ThinkPad, it also comes with a track point. That's the red dot, which can also be used to control the mouse cursor. Some people really swear by this thing, but I'm not a big fan. I do like the dedicated mouse buttons it brings with it. In terms of connectivity, if we look at the left side, we have a USB-C port here, which is also used to charge the laptop. This is done with the 65-watt adapter that comes with the device. That same port also serves as a Thunderbolt 4 port, and it's the only USB-C port available, which may feel limited by today's standards. Next to that, we have a USB 3 Type-A port, HDMI, and audio jack that can be used for both input and output. The right side shows us a hole for the Kensington lock, RJ45 for gigabit networking, and another USB Type-A port, which unfortunately is only USB 2.0. Now, before we open up the laptop, let's quickly take a look at the original specifications. About this PC shows us that, as mentioned, we indeed have an Intel Core i5 1135G7 as CPU and 8GB of memory. You can also see here that this laptop came with Windows 11 Pro. In Task Manager, we can also see that the laptop is unfortunately only having a single DDR4 slot for 3200 MHz SODIMM memory. So, to upgrade the memory, we will need to replace the current 8GB stick with a larger one. The Intel version can be upgraded to a maximum of 32GB. For the AMD version, this is a bit different, as it comes with 8GB base memory soldered to the motherboard and an additional slot for upgrades. In that case, the maximum amount of RAM is 40GB. Let's go ahead and start with that upgrade now. I have a 16GB 3200 MHz SODIMM module, which will replace the current 8GB module, and obviously we will first need to open the laptop. That starts with loosening the screws on the bottom of it. The screws will not completely come out, so it's sufficient to loosen them. In total, there are 8. Now that these are loosened, starts the most annoying part. The back cover is clicked into place pretty well and requires a bit of force in the right places to get it off. The easiest approach here is to use a plastic tool and start on a back corner and work your way to the front of the laptop. First on one side, then on the other. Take your time here to do this and don't force it too much. Once both sides snapped loose, carefully unclick the front as well. After some prying, you should be able to get the back cover removed and reveal the internals of this laptop. In there, a large part is taken by the 45 Wh battery. We can also see the CPU cooler connected with a heat pipe to the actual CPU location. This metal piece covers a memory slot. Here we have an additional slot for a second NVMe drive, and this is where the Wi-Fi card is located. The primary NVMe drive can be found under the CPU cooler here. Normally, I would really recommend to disconnect the battery before starting the memory upgrade, but the connector seems to be glued together in my case. First, we need to remove that metal cover, which, as you can see, I did notice is still fixed with a small screw over here. There we go. Now we can remove the original 8 GB of memory by unclipping it. Then we can insert the replacement module of 16 GB by simply clicking it back in. That's all it takes. So let's put back the metal cover first and then fix it again. To close up the laptop now, we need to put back the plastic cover, then make sure it clicks in place on all sides. And fix the 8 screws again. Let's turn the device back on now and see if the upgrade was a success. Alright, we get to see the Lenovo logo, which is already a good sign. And Windows seems to be booting as well. Good to see. Now let me open About This PC again, and in here we can indeed see that we now have 16 GB of memory instead. The same is seen in Device Manager obviously. Time to test how this device actually performs now, and I will do that by running Geekbench 6. The first test is the CPU benchmark. As a result, we get 1770 single core and 4931 in multi-core. If we compare these cores with some machines that I tested earlier, it is pretty much where I expected it to be. The CPU is a bit slower than a 6-core Intel i7-8700 and a bit faster than a 4-core Ryzen 5 7520U for example. But what is good here to see is the relatively high single-core score, which most likely will have a very positive effect in practical use. As a next test, let's also run the GPU benchmark here. As you probably know, this is not really a gaming machine, but it's still interesting to see how the integrated graphics actually perform. 10,150, not terribly bad actually, and again pretty much as expected. Some older or simpler games might even run pretty well with this core, but don't expect too much in this area. As a last test, let me see how the NVMe SSD does in terms of performance using AGA system test. 1137 MB per second for writing and a nice 2210 MB per second for reading. Pretty decent for day-to-day use and more than enough to not cause any bottlenecks. That was all I have for this video. I didn't really test the Wi-Fi performance on video, but in practice it works as you would expect from a Wi-Fi 6 or 802.11ax adapter. Performance and overall impressions of this laptop are pretty good from my side. Nothing really stands out, but everything is good enough. The same actually applies for the battery. It allows you to last a few hours with moderate usage, but here as well, you shouldn't expect something exceptional. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this, and if you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Let me know if this helped for you, or if you have any questions in the comments. And if you like these kind of videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel and enable notifications. Thanks again, and hope to see you back here soon.